Yo, what's up, guys? Why Not Be Reckless, aka Why Not Be Caster, one of the HCS commentators, analysts, and grassroots content creators, and we have another HCS report where today we're going to be breaking down HCS Major at Charlotte, which is happening in next weekend. How crazy is that? It really kind of snuck up on us real quick, and it's been quite some time since our last major. Why don't we jump right into our predictions, and of course, we're going to land over in Pool A. Pool A, Shopify, Rebellion, Psycho, Frosty, Last Shot, and Royal 2. We got to talk about them, you already know. Back at SLC, a big win on land, but it feels like since then they've been on an entirely upward trend, whether it's the online tournaments or even at the LVT Halo 50K LAN. It feels like since SLC, Shopify Rebellion almost felt unstoppable, and people were ready to say they're about to run away with the rest of the year without being contended until recently. Last couple of days, not only did Optic play them extremely tight in an online scrim, but on top of that, didn't Optic win the TSM 5K event 3-1 in that grand finals? That's something obviously to think about, something obviously to talk about. Huge for Optic Gaming. Optical Gaming once again testing Shopify Rebellion and proving that, hey, nothing is predictable in the HCS. Ain't nobody running away with anything. Shopify Rebellion still look extremely strong. TSM, Druck, Manny, Soulsnipe, and Talik. Why don't we talk about them just a bit here? TSM, up and down season, you already know, didn't qualify for the LVT Pro League LAN, sadly. But I will say they do have some feats under their belt, including almost splitting the difference with FaZe Clan only losing out by one game, and also taking them to a game 5, just a week ago or so. That was absolutely huge for TSM, testing SSG in scrims. And what's really important is this head-to-head versus Complexity. By the way, a good win against Cloud9 as well. This head-to-head versus Complexity is going to be absolutely huge because not only did they win, but they won fairly decisively, if you ask me, the TSM. We're definitely going to talk about that because Complexity are also in their pool, and that's going to be an extremely important matchup. Cherished, K-Nick, Mental, and YNOT. We'll talk about them just a little bit here as well because, again, kind of similar to TSM, up and down season. Obviously, we know they can beat almost anybody in the league, but they're also beatable. That includes getting 12-2 by an Envy roster. A good win against Dark Inside. Couple wins versus Optic Gaming, not too bad. On land, I will say that win against FaZe Clan right here, actually, where FaZe were up 3-0, and then they began to reverse sweep them by winning 4 games in a row, was absolutely huge by Complexity. But this head-to-head is an outlier, and it's something that we have to lean on because when we're doing our predictions, the head-to-head is where TSM and Complexity find themselves over in Pool A. So, Shopify Rebellion versus TSM. I got it 3-1. I got it. 3-1 in favor of Shopify Rebellion. Well, to see TSM take a game, and I don't like predicting sweeps, even though it could be a world where this is a sweep if we don't see certain game types, like maybe like a Strongholds go the way of like a TSM. Shopify Rebellion versus Complexity, another matchup that can be a sweep, but I like to show some respect here. We'll do another 3-1 in favor of Shopify Rebellion. I have no idea what that sound even was, but I'm going to go 3-1 here. Shopify Rebellion over Complexity. Then you got Shopify Rebellion over Open Bracket Team. I'm going to go 3-0. Come on, Shopify Rebellion, let's be serious. But that matchup that we talk about, TSM and Complexity, is extremely important, where I'm going to go another 3-1 here. I'm worried if this did go down to a game 5. If it did go down to a game 5, maybe I slightly lean the direction of Complexity. But again, that head-to-head is serious. And 11-6 in that scrim, you got to give a nice little advantage to TSM, and that's a fairly recent scrim between the two. TSM and Open Bracket Team, I say 3-0. TSM like to play a little bit of bully ball, and Complexity with a 3-1 over Open. You know what? I'm actually going to say, I'm going to say that Complexity to clutch it out. I'm going to say 3-2 over whoever makes it out of the open bracket. There are some strong and scary teams in that open bracket, ones that demand respect. But that's going to be Pool A, where we switch over to Pool B, and we have that being captained by Optic Gaming, Bound, Formal, Legend, and Renegade. I mean, a lot of people, I would say a lot of people, maybe even most people, have them as their favorites going into Charlotte, going into FaZe's house, and maybe winning their third major of the year. Let's not forget, they went back-to-back with 2 historic runs. Still can't believe this. From lower bracket round number 1 all the way to the grand finals into 2 resets and winning back-to-back tournaments did Optic Gaming. Absolutely ridiculous. We talked about them playing Shopify Rebellion extremely well recently. They split the difference, showing that obviously they're just as good as them, and they are a true contender to win tournaments, not just to test Shopify Rebellion, but to legitimately upset them at this point, because Shopify Rebellion do have a little bit of momentum on their side. 6-0 over TSM. Can't say I'm too surprised there. And mind you, that LAN didn't go the way of Optic Gaming. Shopify Rebellion were able to 4-1 Optic Gaming during the LVT Halo Pro League LAN, 4-1 go to favor of Shopify Rebellion, and things were looking very good for them until Optic over the last few days have really tested Shopify Rebellion and showing that they are still here, and again, they are still a threat to win. Majin Club, Bastos, Mighty, Septic, and Chick. And that's a huge change that we're seeing. I mean, we already, well, let's see. Let's bring up Majin here. And we already saw Bastos coming in from when Jimbo retired, but I believe, what was it, Sika? Somebody else retired on this roster as well. I believe it might actually, maybe it was Sika who retired recently, and now you have Septic coming in. I remember Septic being on the top EU teams for quite some time, and I'm trying to remember, is he the one that maybe switched over to mouse and keyboard for a bit? Either way, this Majin Club is nasty. We've seen Chick and Mighties a lot, and they're absolutely amazing. I believe Mighty actually comes over from the Overwatch world, and Chick, remember back in season 1 or season 2 against G1 was a part of like the craziest back-to-back overkills that we ever seen with Quadrant. It was it was so freaking sick. Majin Club, extremely good. However, I mean, you're the number 2 team coming out of EU, and you're in a same pool as Optic Gaming. Luckily for Majin Club, they're also in the same pool with Omit. And if there's any pool that I would want to be in, I would probably be looking at Omit and Unreal Nightmare as the tertiary squads that I would probably want to be in a pool with, that I feel like it can be winnable if I'm anybody coming in as a second seed. I think Complexity, you can't count Complexity out whatsoever. They will always be one of the favorites. Just experience, firepower. I think obviously Luminon Gaming, who by the way, they forfeited their spot in the qualifier, so normally they would probably have a higher seed than Majin Club, but with that forfeit, they ended up in Pool C as the number 11 seed, where Majin Club were able to win out their spot. So that's why you see things a little bit wonky in Pool B right now. Majin Club are probably looking at Omit right now and thinking that this is a winnable series. Meanwhile, Omit might be thinking the same thing, as Huss, Lethal, Septify, and Spartan are obviously no pushovers whatsoever. Watch out for Omit. And while we talk a little about, since we're already here, why don't we look at them real quick and what they've been able to do recently. 4-13 against SSG, no real surprise there. Unreal Nightmare coming off with an 8-3 win over them. That to me is shocking and not what you want to see if you're a fan of Omit, to be honest with you. Dark Inside with a big win against them. 9-3 over Lies, like that. Only 3 games against Cloud9, so kind of what we expect, kind of what we've been seeing recently from Omit. Like, they haven't been able to just kind of figure it out and click. When I look at this Omit roster, I personally see a team that could be in the same tier as a Complexity, as a Envy, as a Cloud9, and even a TSM, but maybe on the lower side of that tier, which is not the end of the world. But right now, Omit look like they're in the same tier as like an Unreal Nightmare. Maybe they're just a little bit outside of that bracket, outside of not only that tier A, but even that tier B right now, but with a ton of potential. Omit will be tested by Majin Club, and well, let's get to it. Optic game over Majin Club. I'm sorry, Majin. I see this as a 3-0. I don't pick 3-0s very often, but I honestly think this is back-to-back 3-0s. I think Optic Gaming are going to be coming into pool play, and they're going to be coming in absolutely locked. Like, absolutely locked in. We've seen too many times where Optic have fooled around in pool play, and because of that put themselves in really dangerous territory. I think they come into Charlotte and they say no more. We're coming as the #1 seed. We're looking as dominant as we do on a championship Sunday. We are taking pool play seriously no matter who is in front of them. So I actually think Optic Gaming maybe pull off a 3-0 here. Optic Gaming versus, you know what? I'm going to say they undefeated. I'm going to say Optic come out of pools undefeated. They don't even drop a single map to Optic Gaming. Maybe I'm glazed a little bit there, but, the Optic fans already hate me. Let me throw them a bone real quick. Majin and Omit. This is tough, man. My brain is saying, look, Omit win this. We'll say 3-2. It's a war. It's a series. It's must watch. My brain is telling me Omit. My heart is telling me though. My heart is telling me that maybe, just maybe, Majin come out on top. But I like Omit a lot. I like Omit maybe about 10 times better than what I've seen here. And I'm just like, man, just kind of waiting for it to click. And I'm just like, maybe this last major of the year leading up into the World Championship, maybe this is where Omit say, hey, look, we got nothing to lose. Let's give it our all. And we see what Omit are truly made of. Because so far, I feel like we just haven't seen that yet, sadly. But maybe things change. Give me Omit in that one. And Majin versus Open Series team. You know what? I'm gonna be all cookie cutter and whatnot. Let's have some fun here. Let's have some fun. Let's say Open Bracket team beats out Majin. Let's say we see back-to-back game 5s. No, not that one. I don't want to go too crazy now. I don't want to go too crazy now. I'm gonna say whoever comes out of Open Bracket defeats Majin Club and gets themselves into championship bracket. We see at least one Open Bracket team make it into the championship bracket. Why not, baby? Why not? Next up, why don't we switch gears over towards Pool C, which has the hometown team in it, FaZe Clan. It's the FaZe-hosted major in Charlotte, so FaZe Clan should have a theoretical advantage with Lucid, Penguin, Snakebite, and Trippy. And I will say, and mind you, this is not me talking about anybody else. This is me specifically talking about FaZe. I love FaZe's work ethic. I think it's absolutely incredible, and I think I was able to see that from the behind the scenes at the LVT Halo Pro League LAN, and it was amazing. It really was. FaZe, I felt like were there 2 hours before everybody else and left 2 hours after everybody. I feel like the preparation that they go through with not only practice, but film review, but, just everything about this FaZe Clan roster. I feel like when I think of if I was a young player trying to become a professional player, I would look at FaZe and not only their skill on the virtual battlefield, but also how they hold themselves outside of it as well. Like, I feel like they present themselves also as champions. I think it's incredible. I really do. I like this FaZe Clan roster a lot. Not only in game, but also the intangibles out of game. Recently, they've been running some scrimmages at Kave Esports and Omit, pretty dominant ones here, but I will say they got absolutely blasted by Shopify Rebellion 10-1 in favor of the Rebellion. I mean, it's FaZe look like the upper echelon of Tier B. Like I feel like if you really want to right now, you can make a tier A and put, if you wanted to, put Shopify and Optic alone in tier A. If you want to widen it out a little bit, maybe you do include a phase. I'm having a hard time including SSG right now, where like, because they've been so up and down. We'll talk about them soon. I almost feel like you would put an Envy in that tier. But you can make an argument that either it's just Optic and Shopify Billion or Optic Shopify Billion, and then phase is what we want to put them there. They look like a little bit of a cut above everybody else right now. Not to say that they are unbeatable or anything of that sort. Like I said, I really like this phase roster. Cloud9 though, I'm interested in seeing what Cloud9 looked like recently, because I always talk really highly of Cloud9 because they're good. They have a high ceiling, they have a high floor. You know, I feel like, you know, you give them a puncher's chance because anybody, that includes splitting the difference with a team like SSG, Envy getting the best of them. Envy look extremely good as well, maybe just a tiny step above Cloud9. 8-6 in favor of TSM here. TSM got a good win against them. But I would say, as you know, for what I'm seeing, as what I expected early on this month, even beating out Envy in a little bit of a mini scrim there, that's not bad. Cloud9 are really good. The problem is when it comes to me making predictions, and you put them up against a phase or even a Luminon, which we'll talk about here, it's really hard for me to do, because I like Cloud9. I'm not in love with Cloud9. I'm in love with this Luminon gaming roster. This is going to be so hard for me, to be honest with you here. Luminon Gaming, by the way, you have Glory, SLG, Snipe Drone, and Wootum. You know them previously as OEX recently, and Nemesis for quite some time now under the Luminon banner. I love Luminon. They have the talent, they have the structure, they have the experience. They're coming in recently, or coming in soon, and boot camping as well. I really like this Luminon Gaming roster. My only problem is I don't think that is them. Do we have the question is, do we have Luminon Gaming? I don't think we can even pull up their more recent scrims. I don't think that was them. Either way, I feel like, well, luckily for Luminon Gaming, we know who they are. Number one team out of Europe, ton of talent. They literally gave up or disqualified themselves, forfeited the qualifier in order to get into Pool C, which, by the way, FaZe did the very same thing to them back at SLC. It's funny, they're like, oh, FaZe, you wanted to forfeit and put yourself in our pool? Well, guess what? We're gonna do the same for you. We want your pool, and that to me is actually just really exciting to talk about in itself right there. That's so crazy to see something like that happen. But Pool C are an interesting one. By the way, Cloud9, Advocacy, Booba Dooba, Collect, and Sab. I don't think I said that earlier. I apologize. Oh, this was going to be tough. FaZe versus Cloud9. 3-2. I'll say Cloud9 pushed them a little bit. 3-2. I don't like saying 3-0s, and I've been saying a lot of 3-1s. FaZe versus Luminon. I don't know, bro. I don't know, man. I didn't they 3-1 them back at SLC, I want to say. Oh, I don't freaking know. I don't like this game. I'm pretty sure this was a 3-1 in favor of, yeah, well, it was actually 3. It was like, oh, wow, I got it exactly, 3-1. Very good strongholds. And Nemesis, normally you would expect them to win a lot of the strongholds matches. Close Slayer. A close King of the Hill that went Nemesis's way. And then a 2-0 in Oddball. FaZe are looking kind of diffy, bro. FaZe have gotten better. They're aging like a fine wine. Yeah. You know what? We'll say this one is an actual 3-2. And we'll say this one's a 3-1. FaZe on top. Open bracket team. FaZe gonna look locked in 3-0. What the hell was even that? 3-0. Cloud9 versus Luminon. 3-1. I like Luminon against Cloud9 a lot. I think when I think of Luminon, I instantly go towards like Wutum and just the chaos and damage that he's able to create. But honestly, it ain't just him. Snipe Drone wins his 1v1s like no other. SLG is a master of power weapons. Any weapon he gets in his hand is a threat with it. And then Glories is coming from the free-for-all world, he's ready for every challenge, but he also has a way of just cleaning up anything that Wutum and Snipe Drone don't finish themselves. It's a well put together squad. Like on paper, it works. And it's gonna work on land as well. I would not be surprised if Luminon were able to beat out FaZe Clan. I'm just not ready. I'm not ready. I want to say it. I do. I guess I love Luminon. I love FaZe Clan as well, but I got to root for the underdogs. I want to say it. I'm just not ready to do that. So, yeah, we'll keep it that way. Cloud9. Why should we say they 3-0 open bracket team? I don't know. I like Cloud9 are just if you like. I feel like Cloud9 are one of those teams that it's very simple. If you're not better than them, they're gonna stomp you. Like there's no them making mistakes. It's just if you're not better than them, they're gonna stomp you. Simple as that. And yeah, I think Luminon also 3-0 open bracket team. It's just a tough pool. If you want to give a pool the pool of death, you gotta say this is it. Right here. Luminon forfeiting their qualifier when they should be in Pool B and maybe Maj should be here, that created the quote-unquote pool of death right off the rip. That's where we're at here in Pool C. Pool D. Space Station Gaming. Oh, Space Station Gaming. Space Station Gaming. Space Station Gaming. This is something that I feel like I never would have predicted with Space Station Gaming. Like, we talk about what they look like earlier in the year when they had Snakebite and Lucid on the squad. I saw that roster and I was like, damn. I remember before the season started, and I looked at that old Space Station Gaming roster, I was like, whoa, hold on. They might be the number 2 team in the world behind Optic. Obviously, that wasn't the case. Things didn't go anywhere near their way. We've seen some swaps happen, some bad blood, some words exchanged, all that good stuff. We know the story, let's be honest. But the one thing I didn't expect is for SSG to look as slow as they've looked. That's the one thing that I personally just have not expected. SSG have come off very slow, very up and down, and I didn't expect with the new roster adding Suppressed and Falcated. And Stellar and Eco, like they said, getting the players' play style that they wanted, I expected them to hit the ground running. When you play a super aggressive play style and you have the gunny that can beat almost anybody in the league, you tend to play so much better on LAN. And I feel like somehow we still haven't seen them reach their full potential yet. I don't care what this team does online. If you told me they lost the scrim to Omid, I wouldn't care. If you told me they lost the script of Kave Esports, I wouldn't care. Kave taking 6 out of 15 games off of them is pretty crazy. But I wouldn't care. Because what I care about when I look at SSG is what is their performance on LAN. And I feel like so far, you cannot say that they've met expectations. They haven't looked miserable. It's not like blow the whole team up kind of thing. Although, with the way things are looking, one could argue that if there was a longer season, maybe we would have seen a roster change. I don't know. Something seems to not be clicking when talking about Eco, Falcated, Stellar, and Suppressed. Like, it's like a timing difference. It feels like they're right there, but maybe one player is just a step too fast, too far ahead. They die, and another team is just a second too far behind. Something just doesn't feel cohesive when you're watching SSG. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. Maybe I take Monday and just do a full day of just nothing but film review on just SSG. Because we got to figure this shit out, man. We got to figure it out. And luckily, there's been some good times where they go on break, and I feel like you see Elamite talking to them passionately. You see, and it's working. It feels like I think Elamite's really good for this roster, but they just they need something, man. They need something. It's funny because I oftentimes say that I feel like every team needs a little bit of crazy. Like every team needs to have a little bit of crazy. Shopify Rebellion, you know, Frosty can get a little crazy. Last Shot get a little crazy. They'll scream. They get a little crazy. Omni Gaming, Balgame can get a little crazy. You know, like you look at TSN, the whole squad is crazy. Like Envy have Yaxin. Every team kind of needs a little bit of a crazy when it comes to LAN, and I feel like SSG don't have the crazy. Maybe Elamite needs to be that crazy. So every team needs a little bit of crazy, and I feel like SSG just have 4 players that are extremely talented, but maybe nonchalant, and maybe they need a little bit of crazy. I don't know. I'll be honest with you, but what I will say is SSG have the potential to win tournaments, to win championships, to win worlds. When you look at the players and talent on this roster, they can win. I don't want to see them waste that. So we move on to Envy. So we move on to Envy. Descendant, Piggy, Precision, and Yaxin. Let's bring up there. I mean, Envy are the best team that nobody's talking about. And it sounds weird. Envy are the best team that nobody is talking about. Like the constant disrespect that I see Envy get in Twitch chat is so crazy, considering that the body of work that they've been able to put out since they've come together is legitimately insane to me. Like at this point, when Envy go up against SSG in this matchup, I don't have SSG as the favorites. I like what like and the crazy part is people listen to that. Listen to me say that, like, oh, Tony's going on some crazy freaking Tony take. He's doing a hot take. He's clip farming. I don't have Envy as the favorites because every time Envy and SSG go up against each other, they lose. 14-1 in a scrim. Game 7, Envy over SSG. Like I'm sure there's more. I apologize. This right here is a 3-0 favor Envy, favor SSG. My bad. Game 5, Envy over SSG. Game 5, Envy over SSG. It's going back to August, guys. Like we're seeing a body of work here where Envy, even though SSG won 6-3, Envy win 9-5. Envy, when they go up against SSG, they played them, they win more games. They played them better. Envy, for some reason, plays their best Halo against SSG. And they happen to be in the same pool as them. As I said, best team nobody's talking about right now. Which, again, is still crazy to me considering what they've been able to do since the moment they have come together. But see what happens. We'll see what happens, baby. Land is king. You already know. Unreal Nightmare coming in as the tertiary seed. Unreal Nightmare, they had a couple of really good scrim results. I mean, I like Unreal Nightmare a lot. You have Breaking Shot, Syrian, Common, and Envor. It's a good squad. You have this young talent in Syrian who is on everybody's radar now if you're really paying attention, if you really know ball. Envor and Common has been there, done that. Players, Breaking Shot reunited with Common and Envor as well. I feel like Breaking Shot has always talked highly of his experience with Common, so having him back in the mix, he's a very mixy player. It's a good squad. Unreal Nightmare were able to get a good win over Omit. I don't know which Luminon Gaming. Yeah, it's weird because this is not the EU Luminon Gaming. So obviously pay attention to that. But they've been solid. They've played Omit really well. They've got some good scrims against Lies. They're a really good team. They're not an open bracket team. The problem is when I look at this as a whole, and I see, okay, well, who are the 3 weakest links right now? No disrespect whatsoever. right now, I have to look at Majin, Omit, and Unreal Nightmare. Those are the three. If I had a team, if I was GM, and I was hoping that my team would go up against one of those three, it has to be them. Simple as that. And it's not to say it's impossible for them to beat Envy. It's not to say whoever comes out of open bracket is going to be the better team. I'm just saying, out of all the teams that I see here, those would be the three that I would specifically want to go up against. Maybe Majin number 1 in that situation. Maybe Unreal Nightmare 2. Maybe Omit 3. And honestly, you could probably swap Omid and Unreal Nightmare. I'm just thinking from an X Factor point of view. I think Omid can just out of nowhere play Optic Gaming on a freaking pool play match. But Unreal Nightmare have so far shown that they can beat Omid, and they've done it twice recently, which is really good for them. But again, that's kind of where I'm at right now. So I like Unreal Nightmare. I like Cloud9. I love Envy. I love Luminon Gaming. And that's kind of where I'm at with that. So when we get to the prediction side of things, SSG and Envy, 3-2 Envy. I don't know what else I'm supposed to say. I have no idea what else I'm supposed to say about this. 3-2 Envy. I think Envy play SSG extremely, extremely well. I think Envy are the real deal, and if you don't see that, you're just walking around with blindfolds. And I see a world where SSG come off a bit slow and have to wake up a little bit. I think SSG still have a great tournament, but I just think in pool play, Envy are going to shake them up a bit. Simple as that. SSG versus Unreal Nightmare, 3-1. SSG versus open bracket team, they're so mad from their loss for Envy, they steamrolled them. The Slayer will be 50 to freaking 18. SSG come out angry. Envy versus Unreal Nightmare, 3-1. Envy versus open bracket team, 3-0. Unreal Nightmare versus open bracket team, we'll say 3-1. I'm sorry. I have Envy beating SSG. I know people are gonna think that's blasphemy, but I mean, if you just look at their track record, they really do play SSG that well. So finally, we have Shopify Rebellion finishing off 3-0 in pools. TSM will be. Wait, do we have TSM beating them, right? Yeah, we have TSM 2-1, and then we have Complexity 1-2, and then ultimately open bracket team goes 0-3 in Pool A. Optic Gaming, not only do we have them going 3-0, but on top of that, we have them going undefeated in pool play, which happens more times than you would think, honestly. Majin, we have them going 0-3. Although I can see a world where, low-key, I kind of want to switch this up and put a world with 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. We have a 3-way tie, and it goes to tiebreaker. Hold on. That's what I should have done, bro. Hold on. We switching it up. Let's make it sexy, bro. Let's make this sexy. I forgot that's even a possibility. We got this going to tiebreaker. 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. We got this going to a tiebreaker. Here we go. Now we're getting somewhere here. Pool C, 3-0. This one I'm so reluctant on. Cloud9 1-2. Luminon 2-1. Open bracket team 0-3. And then finally we have SSG going 2-1. Envy going 3-0. They finished number 1 seed according to my prediction here. Unreal Nightmare 1-2. And then we have our open bracket team 0-3. That is your perfectly predicted bracket. Let me know down below what you guys think. I know a lot of y'all gonna be mad at me at this one, but hey, I said what I said. And I'll see you guys at Charlotte. Gonna be so exciting. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys agree. If you don't agree, let me know what you guys think. And until next time, I will catch y'all later. Peace.